The following review has been approved by Lord Carnage and the best of Classic Game Room. Welcome to Classic Game Room, where it's time to get it on like Donkey Kong Jr. for the Ereader. After rocking out to the excellent Ereader music and scanning your 5 Donkey Kong Jr. Ereader cards.
Scanning of dot codes complete. Start application. Is it okay to overwrite this application?
After enjoying that seductive computer voice, it's time to play Nintendo's classic, Donkey Kong Jr., one of my favorite Nintendo games. And I know what you're thinking. Hey Mark, can we get more seductive computer voice? You know what? Get your own. That one's mine. Unless you're thinking, hey Mark, haven't you reviewed Donkey Kong Jr. before? In which case, yes, I have several times, but never before have I reviewed Donkey Kong Jr. on the Gameboy Advance, using Ereader cards, on a Tuesday. Actually, to further complicate matters, we're watching footage recorded from the Game Boy player on GameCube. The Ereader will work with that thing, and this is basically the NES version of Donkey Kong Jr. on the go. After searching eBay a couple times, I don't think you can get a standalone Donkey Kong Jr. game cartridge for your Game Boy Advance, at least not in the West. But you can get these cool collectible Ereader cards, which are completely inconvenient and kind of bizarre, but still fun, and they play Donkey Kong Jr. using magic, because there's no other explanation for how they could possibly work. Donkey Kong Jr. is spread across 5 cards and totally rocks your Game Boy Advance. It's also pretty cheap and easy to collect out there from what I've seen. Quick history lesson here. The Ereader is this cool device that works with your Game Boy Advance or Game Boy player on GameCube, where you scan these cards and it saves a Nintendo game onto the Ereader. Like Donkey Kong Jr., which was originally released to the arcades in 1982 from Nintendo. It's an interesting game because Mario is the bad guy. You're playing as Donkey Kong Jr. out to save your father. So let me get this straight. Donkey Kong was trapped in a cage by Mario. My theory is that's not Mario at all. That's Luigi wearing a different colored hat and pants, trying to ruin Mario's squeaky clean image because, as we all know, Luigi is jealous and bitter. And he's a complete prick. I love the music in the electrical stage here. There's 4 stages to the game, and after you complete them, they just rotate at a higher difficulty. Like the original Donkey Kong, you score your big points by getting through each level quickly and collecting that bonus on the top right, but you can also score points by jumping over things and dropping fruit on enemies. It's a great game. I think it's a vast improvement over the original Donkey Kong. And I know more people these days are into the Donkey Kong Country games, but personally, I like this one. I like the level variety, the music, the style of the game, and it's not quite as rigid as the original Donkey Kong. Now, playing it here on the Game Boy Advance or Game Boy Player is a solid way to enjoy Donkey Kong Jr., especially on the go, except the Ereader is a bit large, certainly compared to a standard Game Boy Advance cartridge. Here's a look at the Ereader in the Game Boy Advance, and I've got 2 people to thank for this review. Jennifer from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania sent the Ereader, and Robert from Surrey, British Columbia, Canada sent the game. Ereader-tastic! Now, to be fair, you don't need to collect the Ereader cards to play Donkey Kong Jr. It's available on the Virtual Console and even on the ColecoVision. But there's something super cool about playing games off of cards. Just don't lose any of them. You need all 5 to load Donkey Kong Jr. and the original Donkey Kong. It's also on Ereader. So as I prepare to play some original Donkey Kong on the e-reader, why don't you pick up a copy of Donkey Kong Jr. because it's a great game and you should play it off of cards. 5 of them, in fact, today. I love Vectrex. The best of Classic Game Room is on DVD, Blu-ray, and Laser Hypervision album set.